Good day. There's a saying that he who fights and run away lives to fight another day. The reason being that if you fight and you see that you are in a bad position, it may be a wise and strategic move to withdraw and rebuild. And maybe some other day you'll be stronger and you'll fight better in another day. This seems to be the decision taken by President Donald Trump and the Israeli government, and possibly also the Iranian government. I say this because at this time, news just emerged that President Trump has announced on Truth Social that the two belligerents, Iran and Israel, have decided on a ceasefire. His Truth Social says, "Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. In approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran would have rounded up and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. That is Trump in his Truth Social post. So how would you consider this now? It makes a lot of sense that maybe everybody involved in this matter should step back. But that was not before Iran had taken action against the United States in a form of retaliation. Iran attacked an airbase in Al Udeid airbase, a sprawling military installation that is used by the Qataris, the US, and the United Kingdom militaries inside Qatar. But what came out even before then that it was the Iranians had contacted the Qataris and warned them about it. So it wasn't particularly a heavy bombing as had been expected. So when we look at this war, Trump wants to call it a 12-day war, and he wants to end it by all means. So I am assuming now that he would have talked to Benjamin Netanyahu, who started this war when he unilaterally attacked Iran, and that he would have impressed upon Netanyahu to make a deal with the Iranians and to stop this war. The Iranians, meanwhile, are not particularly, they don't believe Trump. Trump has become very duplicitous in his new presidency. He has two faces. It's like Jason. He says one thing and he does another thing. He tells you he's doing a negotiation with you, then he starts to bomb you. He tells you he doesn't know anything about an operation, then he tries to bomb the whole nuclear fleet of Russia. He has turned to be someone that nobody can take his word for anything. So the Iranians say they have not really concluded on it, but even then, they still don't believe him. It's Trump who has himself to blame for not being believed and being reliable anymore. Good day. Welcome to my channel, Ebimo Amungo's Perspective on Global Affairs. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If anything I say here resonates with you, please leave a comment in the comment section. But if you just like what I say, like and share. At this point, it makes a lot of sense that President Trump will be calling for a de-escalation of the war with Iran. between Israel and Iran. It's very important. The war and where it stands now is very precarious. We are at a cliff. We're at a junction, a turning point in history. That war, if it goes beyond what it is now, can possibly upend reality and time and history as we know it. But the same person who has given courage and given fire and given petrol and steam to the Israeli cause is the same one who is saying that there's now a ceasefire. It should make a lot of sense if Trump wants a ceasefire. He is under a lot of fire himself in America. There's a lot of dilemma for him. There's a lot of crisis for him. Because Trump had always pitched himself as one who opposed long wars. But this is one war that could take forever if the Iranians so choose to be belligerent, dogged, stubborn, and choose to continue this battle. If they decide to attack America, it may lead America into going into a war. And we know Trump's ego. So Trump is calling for a ceasefire. He wants this ceasefire. He wants Iran to de-escalate. But it's not only him who wants Iran to de-escalate. Indeed, the whole world is urging Iran not to take a rash action. Trump, as we know, is seriously under threat. He is not under threat, but he is under the fire and criticism by the large political class that forms his base. His Make America Great Again are now questioning how come he's so much under the influence of the Israeli lobby to the extent that he will be pulling America into a war in a region that will tie them down and in a region where they have a continuous history of losing wars. So this is one thing that has created a crisis for him in he has disagreements between him and his national security advisor, intelligence director Tulsi Gabbard. There are variants as to what threats the Iranian nuclear program possesses. Even his vice president, J.D. Vance, does not particularly like this idea. Quite a lot of people, his MAGA has been very vocal about it. And for the actions he has taken, there's been word about impeachment. There's been word about being called on so many things. And Trump has a lot of agenda, a lot on his plate. He wants to do tariff. He wants to do so many other things. He wants to fight and contain China. And starting a war with Iran at this early point of his presidency will definitely define, that will be what will define his whole 4 years, because that will keep it going for a long time. So it makes a lot of sense that Trump wants to broker a ceasefire. He wants it desperately. But beyond Trump too, let's take the Israelis. The Israelis started this war, but they did not expect what they got. Israel has been punched and battered. First, Israel is in a precarious situation. They cannot continue this war because of the economic cost on them. Already their airports and their ports are closed. But if that's not bad enough, Iran is threatening to hit very critical infrastructure like their desalination plants. That will mean that there will be tests all over that region, because don't forget, Israel is a desert country. The unrelenting barrage of missiles and drones that Iran has been sending to them has cost them in a lot of infrastructure damage, but it has also cost them in demystifying the Israeli army, the Israeli Air Force, and all the myth about the Israeli military. Their Iron Dome and their arrow warheads and interception missiles have just been shown to be what not anything near what they put them out to be. And this campaign, besides being costly on the economy and costly on the military, is also costly on their demographics, because a lot of people are leaving Israel. Israel is a country where each year they get net inflow of migrants from all over the world, because as long as you identify as Jew, you can lay claim to an Israeli citizenship. So this is something now that is choking them. The war is, if it continues, is expensive for them, because for them, the Israelis have to make missions. They fly out across distances, a very vast distance, 1,400 1,400 kilometers. They don't get into Iranian airspace, but from even if it is from Iraq that they shoot their missiles into Iran, it's still an expensive endeavor for them because they use F F-35 planes. They use drones. It's a way further distance for them to contain and consistently continue this war. So it is very costly for Israel to continue with this war. And for that reason, Israel may find that an off-ramp given to them now by President Trump may make sense. Their stated goal was clear. They wanted to destroy the nuclear enrichment facilities of Iran. They wanted to change the regime in Iran, and they wanted to also possibly install their own regime. They have failed in all those objectives, but there's no doubt that the cost to them is very, very much, very heavy, and it may just be that if this war continues, the whole of Israel may collapse. There's even threat to the Israeli regime because let's not forget that Benjamin Netanyahu has always sought one new war anytime he was in political crisis. He had political issues. And this war with Iran is also another one to escape crisis at home. The Israeli society is fractured between those people who support what the Israeli government under Netanyahu is doing and those who oppose it. He also has corruption cases chasing him relentlessly. And for that reason, he has made sure that he puts himself ahead of all these crises and situations he have back home by going into one war or the other. The October 7th incident by Hamas presented a big opportunity that has helped him to start a war with Hamas, extend it to Hezbollah, extend it into Syria, and now he has moved it one step further into Iran. But definitely, it's not sustainable to have this long stretch of series of wars. But there's been victory for him. They've got new land in Syria. They've extended themselves into southern Lebanon. They now have new places, but still there's been so much insecurity for the Israeli people to the extent now that Israelis have left the whole of northern Israel, the part of Israel that is close to Lebanon, and they've not returned those settlers there. And now Israelis are leaving Tel Aviv and leaving Israel generally. So there is this is a blow to Netanyahu and to the Israeli cause. But for the Iranians, they too also have a reason to stop this war. There is a need for them to recalibrate because this is a time when they've flipped from being an isolated country, a pariah country, to being a country within the committee, accepted within the Committee of Nations. It is clear that this was an aggression against them. The Chinese have said particularly forcefully, Xi Jinping has said it, that was an aggression against Iran. They've also enjoyed the sympathy of the Russians who, when they received today, they received Abbas Aragachi, the foreign minister of of Iran. He went to visit Putin, and Putin stated it on clear terms that this is an aggression and an unacceptable aggression against Iran. And he was ready to support Iran, but if they asked for any favors. But we know Iran has always been a proud country, not asking for, choosing to do their own things their own way. But he has said, when he said to Abbas Aragachi that they were making all efforts to provide support to the Iranian people, and that it was absolutely unprovoked an aggression against Iran. It is unfounded and unjustified. So this is also the statement that has been made by so many other countries. Iran has got friends in recent times, and a lot of all these countries have shown solidarity with Iran. So many of them had decided that they were going to support Iran to the extent where the vice president of or it's not a vice president, but he's a vice chair of the Security Council of Russia, former President Medvedev said, look, the attack on Iran's nuclear facilities was a dumb move by the Americans and that it could lead some country to even give the Iranians missiles and warheads. This is something that we've found out that North Korea was willing to do. Pakistan has even said they were going to give Iran warheads to persecute their war with Iran if it gets with Israel if it gets into being a nuclear war. So Iran has got new friends, but if there was any place that encumbered Iran's response and made them to be very strategic in the way they responded was that one, they needed to focus on on Israel. So in focusing on Israel, they chose not to attack American bases at a way that would have destroyed and possibly start off a war with the Gulf countries. The Gulf countries have flipped and shown solidarity with Iran in this way, but they need to. We should understand that when Iran says they're going to block the Strait of Hormuz, a maritime point where almost all the exports of hydrocarbon assets, oil, gas, fertilizer, ammonia comes out of that place. These are very important to the world. But even then, we look at all these hydrocarbon assets that they are exporting, but we forget also that food going into the Gulf states pass through that strait. Food can be, if Iran does this, what Iran will be doing is that it will be starving Saudi Arabia because all these countries are very heavily import dependent for their food and agriculture. So if you stop flow of trade or flow of ships into Saudi Arabia, into Qatar, into Dubai and the United Arab Emirates, you practically are starving the various populations there. 40 million in Saudi Arabia, 10 million in United Arab Emirates, and another 2 or 3 million in Qatar. So when they look at all this and their new reality is that these are now their new friends. If for nothing else, these are their friends that are saying, agree that they are the victims of this aggression by Israel, even though they are trying to make relationship with Israel, they know the implications on their economy. These are very advanced economies now where they have moved away from even the oil and are now moving towards the post-oil economy, tourism. We all know of the wonderful buildings and structures in Dubai that attract people from all over the world. Finance. Abu Dhabi is now a financial center. Dubai is a financial center. Jeddah and Riyadh are financial centers. So we see that there is a lot now. Logistics. There are no planes and no airlines bigger than Qatar Airways, Saudia, and even Emirates and Etihad. This is what is the reality of the Middle East now, connecting the East and the West. They are now becoming a veritable bridge across the East and the West, and they are very important to Russia. So it is very um, understandable that all these countries urged Iran to be temperate in their handling of the issues. And for the Russians, they told the Iranians that this is an attempt to draw them into a war that even if they win, may be damaging to them and will motivate the Americans to want to possibly kill the Ayatollah and destroy their country completely. So it may just be wise that they step down and don't fight more. But everybody recognizes that Iran has already won. Iran has given Israel a black eye, and contrary to all the boast of President Donald Trump, they did not destroy the Iranian enriched nuclear materials. Those materials had already been moved out of the sites in Fordo and in Isfahan and Natanz. In fact, when they did a battle assessment, a damage assessment of the attack by the Americans on June 21st, it was found out that all those bunker busters really didn't do much in destroying Fordo. So there is a lot for the riding on Israel on Iranian slow down and draw back. And for the Iranians, this will present them an opportunity to look within themselves, possibly rebuild. We already have found out that the Iranians have decided that they're not going to, going forward, they're not going to, they have suspended their relationship with the International Atomic Energy Agency, led by Rafael Grossi, because they feel that he was involved, he was complicit in giving information to the Israelis that they used in attacking them. So they don't look at the International Atomic Energy Agency as a neutral partner anymore. They look at them as complicit in an attempt to destroy their nation. So this is how it is now. The ceasefire will present Iran with an opportunity to look within itself. There's one thing that came out of this war, if it eventually has a ceasefire, and that is the fact that the Israeli Mossad infiltrated deeply into the military structures of Iran. So they will need to do some flushing out and identify who among them are the bad eggs, who would have sold them out, who are the people who possibly who are the because now that we know that their military is compromised, their spy system is compromised, so they will need to find among themselves who the people are that are doing this to them. They need to clean house. They will also need to rebuild because even though we've seen how efficacious their build up their assets in missiles are, they've been depleted and they will use this opportunity to rebuild. They will also make a decision going forward about their nuclear facilities. Will they go and get the bomb? Because it seems like these days it's just when you own the bomb that's the only way that you may survive and avoid predation by powerful nations like America and Israel. So they just might make that decision. Already there's a big debate if they should go ahead and get the bomb. And with the fact that they saved almost 400 kilograms of their enriched uranium, it just might be that they may just extend it and uh, set up their centrifuges for enrichment and continue with it. So this is where we are now. We are at this point where, by my reckoning, Iran has won the war. Why? The Americans and the Israelis did not achieve any of the objectives they set out for. What they've only done is that they've sensitized the Iranians into knowing that they have lapses in their security and they need to strengthen their military better than it is. And also, they need to do a lot in protecting their regime. Already, they enjoyed unprecedented support. Their people came out and were on the streets of Tehran and the streets of all the major cities of Iran. People came out in support of the regime. We should know that Iran is a very fractured society. There's the intellectual battle between the liberals who want to be closer to the West and the conservatives who like Iran to be the country it is. There's big debate and there's also tribal issues, ethnic issues in Iran that many people don't know. So there's been a lot of conflict, and that was a conflict that the Americans and the Israelis had hoped to exploit, thinking that it will lead them to breakdown of the society and they will rise up against the Ayatollah. But unfortunately, one of the great victories of the Iranian regime now is that they were able to coalesce together. There was immense support, and there still is immense support for the Iranian government all across the Iranian nation. So this has been, if it does happen, a point that everybody will look back and take an account. I know for the Israelis, they'll go take stock and look at their systems again. They'll continue their battle in Gaza, where they have strength, pound the Gazans very well, where their objective is to get the Palestinians to leave. They will continue with that operation, and then they will prepare better for another operation. Because as long as they have Benjamin Netanyahu, there will be no peace between Israel and its neighbors. That has been the reality for the past 40 years of Benjamin Netanyahu's involvement in Israeli politics. So for those of them who have decided that they want ceasefire. If it did, it is what is going to happen. Then they will have to leave and fight another day. This is not the end of the Israeli-Iran issue. It will continue as long as Netanyahu and the hardliners that form his government continue to be in Israeli politics. This is where I end my video for today. If you have any opinions about the idea I've expressed, please put them in the comment section. If you're new to this channel, subscribe. And if you like the thoughts I've expressed, please press the like button and share. Until my next video, see you.